I am really pleased today to have an opportunity to introduce Karen Huang, who recently completed her PhD in organizational behavior at Harvard, and is joining us this fall as a tenure track assistant professor of ethics and public policy at the McCourt School. Karen's work examines the intersection of ethics, technology, and public policy. And her work includes research looking at the ethical, political, and social implications of computational technologies, among other things. And in this way, Karen really contributes to great and growing strength at the McCourt School in this area, and also will increase the connections of the McCourt School with tech and society and related ethics work at Georgetown, which is a real core strength that we have at Georgetown University. So Karen, welcome. It's so great to talk with you. Can you share a little more about your work and what inspired you to pursue this field of study?
Yeah, thank you so much for welcoming me. So my work comes from the idea that ethics should be practiced in the public sphere, that ethics isn't just an area that's like written about and theorized. So my research uses empirical approaches to investigate ethics as practiced by leaders, voters, publics, with an eye toward normative implications for public policy. So for example, one of my projects looks at how everyday people can engage in moral reasoning that could change their moral judgments. So this work employs the idea of the veil of ignorance, famously theorized by the philosopher John Rawls. The idea is without any knowledge of whom you're going to be among those affected, you don't have any information about your personal circumstances to bias your decision. And in this project, my co-authors and I applied this idea in our experiments, in which we ask people to forget about their own personal circumstances and instead imagine having equal chance of being each of the individuals affected by a decision or policy. And we found that assuming this veil of ignorance tends to shift people's judgments toward the greater good across a range of moral dilemmas, from dilemmas regarding self-driving cars to charitable decisions. And this project looks at moral reasoning by individuals, and in my projects going forward, I also want to look at the structural level and how institutions enable or constrain individuals' ethical decision-making and behavior. So one project I'm excited to work on is a comparative analysis of COVID-19 ethical political responses across countries, highlighting how the economic and political institutions of each particular country help to determine responses to the pandemic.
Your research interests have clear implications for the kind of public policy problems that McCourt students go on to work on. What are you most excited about as you prepare to teach future policy leaders this year at McCourt?
Yeah, so as you mentioned, I think that we need ethics now more than ever. I think that structural inequalities and injustices have always existed, but now the COVID-19 pandemic and also the events surrounding police violence have made these injustices particularly visible. And I want to promote an understanding of ethics as not just how we relate to each other one-on-one or on an individual level, but also how our institutional structures, economic and political systems, and culture all enable and constrain the realm of possibilities for individuals as they make decisions. So in that vein, I want to empower students at McCourt with the tools to assess complex situations, promote ethical decisions at the micro level within institutions, and to build institutions that promote the public good and protect the disadvantaged, all while keeping in mind that there is no one-size-fits-all solution, but responses need to be tailored toward the particular context and community. And I think that students at McCourt are in the remarkable position of being the leaders we need to steer us toward these cross-national collaborations and solidarity in promoting public health and economic security for all and fighting systemic racial injustice.
What is the best, other than any advice that you got to join us at McCourt, which was clearly great advice, What is the best career advice that you have received that you might want to share with our students?
Yeah, I think that's a wonderful question. So I think the first piece of advice that I've gotten and I've found to be really valuable is to think of professional development opportunities, like internships, as ways to experience the day-to-day life of that profession, because those day-to-day tasks are going to be what the job is, not what you think the job may be in an abstract sense. So really being able to live that life would be invaluable toward deciding what career you'd want in the future. And I think a second piece of advice would be to take a stand and be guided by your values. Find what intrinsically motivates you, and that will really drive your work. So you are in charge of your career. It's not about necessarily doing what someone else thinks would be best for your career. Just work on ideas that you love, and that will motivate you.
Nice. Thank you. So last fun question as we close. What book or books are on your nightstand right now? What are you reading as you are in quarantine?
So one fiction book I'm reading right now is Zadie Smith's White Teeth. I'd highly recommend it.
Great book.
And I've also been reading Michael Sandel's Justice, which is a really accessible book on ethics that I would highly recommend as well.
Terrific. Well, I know lots of our students and colleagues are looking for new things to read, as some of the summer pursuits that we might typically engage in are not as accessible right now.
Yeah.
Thanks for taking the time to talk with me, and we very much look forward to having you join us at McCourt.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to it as well. Thanks so much for the opportunity to chat.